जय राधा जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन यशोधानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदा यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन आनंद आनंद यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदा यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंद यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवतीर्नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. So today we are reading from Canto 7, Chapter 9, text number 46. So the chapter is entitled Prahlad pacifies the Lord with prayers. Text 46. मौनव्रतश्रुततपोऽध्ययनः स्वधर्मः व्याख्यारहो जप समादय अपवर्ग्याः प्रायः परं पुरुषते त्वतीन्द्रियाणाम् वार्ता भवन्त्युत न वार्ततु दाम्भिकानाम् मौनव्रतश्रुततपोऽध्ययन स्वधर्मः वाक्यारहो जप समादय अपवर्ग्याः प्रायः परं पुरुषते अजितेन्द्रियाणाम् वार्ता भवन्त्युत न वार्ततु दाम्भिकानाम् मौनव्रतश्रुततपोऽध्ययन स्वधर्मः व्याख्यारहो जप समादय अपवर्ग्याः प्रायः परं पुरुषते अजितेन्द्रियाणाम् वार्ता भवन्ति मौनव्रतश्रुततपोऽध्ययन स्वधर्मः व्याख्यारहो जप समादय अपवर्ग्याः प्रायः परं पुरुषते त्वजितेन्द्रियाणाम् वार्ता भवन्त्युत न वार्ततु दाम्भिकानाम् मौनव्रतश्रुततपोऽध्ययन स्वधर्मः व्याख्यारहो जप समादय अपवर्ग्याः प्रायः परं पुरुषते त्वजितेन्द्रियाणाम् वार्ता भवन्त्युत न वार्ततु दाम्भिकानाम् मौनव्रतश्रुततपोऽध्ययन स्वधर्मः व्याख्यारहो जप समादय अपवर्ग्याः प्रायः परं पुरुषते त्वजितेन्द्रियाणाम् वार्ता भवन्त्युत न वार्ततु दाम्भिकानाम् word to word meaning. Mauna, silence. Vrata, vows. Shruta, Vedic knowledge. Tapaha, austerity. Adhyayana, study of scripture. Swadharma, executing Varnashrama dharma. Vyakya, explaining the Shastras. Raha, living in a solitary place. Japa, chanting or reciting mantras. Samadhayaha, remaining in trance. Apavargyaha, these are 10 types of activities for advancing on the path of liberation. Prayaha, generally. Param, the only means. Purusha, O my Lord. Te, all of them. Tu, but. Ajitendriyanam, of persons who cannot control the senses. Vartaha, means of living. Bhavanti, are. Uta, so it is said. Na, not. Va, or. Atra, in this connection. Tu, but. Dambikanam, of persons who are falsely proud. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are 10 prescribed methods on the path of liberation. To remain silent, not to speak to anyone, to observe vows, to amass all kind of Vedic knowledge, to undergo austerities to study the Vedas and other Vedic literatures, to execute the duties of Varnashrama Dharma, to explain the Shastras, to stay in a solitary place, to chant mantras silently, and to be absorbed in trance. These different methods of liberation are generally only for professional practice and means of livelihood for those who have not conquered their senses. Because such persons are falsely proud, these procedures may not be successful. Purport. As stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.15, Kechit kevalaya bhaktya vasudeva agam dunvanti karsneya niharam iva bhaskaraha. Only a rare person who has adopted complete unalloyed devotional service to Krishna can uproot the weeds of sinful actions with no possibility that they will revive. He can do this simply by discharging devotional service, just as the sun can dissipate fog by its rays. The real purpose of human life is to attain liberation from material entanglement. Such liberation may be achieved by many methods. Tapasa, brahmacharyena, samena, damena cha. But all of them more or less depend on tapasya, austerity, which begin with celibacy. Sukadeva Goswami says that those who are Vasudeva Parayanaha, who are fully surrendered to the lotus feet of Lord Vasudeva Krishna, automatically achieve the results of mauna, silence, vrata, vows and other such methods simply by discharging devotional service. In other words, these methods are not so powerful. If one takes to devotional service, all of them are very easily performed. Mauna, for example, does not mean that one should stop speaking. The tongue is meant for speaking, although sometimes to make a big show, a person may remain silent. There are so many who observe silence some day in a week. Vaishnavas, however, do not observe such silence. Silence means not to speak foolishly. Speakers at assemblies, conferences and meetings generally speak foolishly like toads. This is described by Srila Rupa Goswami as Vacho Vegam. One who wants to say something can show himself to be a big orator, but rather than go on speaking nonsense, better to remain silent. This method of silence, therefore, is recommended for persons very attached to speaking nonsense. One who is not a devotee must speak nonsensically because he does not have the power to speak about the glories of Krishna. Thus, whatever he says is influenced by the illusory energy and is compared to the croaking of a frog. One who speaks about the glories of the Lord, however, has no need to be silent. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommends Kirtaniya Sadaharihi. One who go on chanting the glories of the Lord 24 hours a day. There is no question of becoming mauna or silent. The 10 processes for liberation or improvement on the path of liberation are not meant for the devotees. Kevalaya Bhaktya. If one simply engages in devotional service to the Lord, all 10 methods of liberation are automatically observed. Prahlad Maharaj's proposal is that such processes may be recommended for Ajitendriya, those who cannot conquer their senses. Devotees, however, have already conquered their senses. Sarvapadi Vinirmuktam Tatparatvena Nirmalam. A devotee is already free from material contamination. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur therefore said, Dushtamana Tumik Kishera Vaishnava Pratishtara Tare Nirjanera Gare Tava Harinama Kevala Kaitava. There are many who like to chant the HareKrishna mantra in a silent, solitary place. But if one is not interested in preaching, talking constantly to the non-devotees, the influence of modes of nature is very difficult to surpass. Therefore, unless one is extremely advanced in Krishna consciousness, one should not imitate Haridas Thakur, who had no other business than chanting the holy name always, 24 hours a day. Prahlad Maharaj does not condemn such a process. He accepts it. But without active service to the Lord, simply by such methods, one generally cannot attain liberation. One cannot attain liberation simply by false pride. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha. Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakhanvitamscha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nidhi Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaurattvise Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sandubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So first of all, I would seek blessings of all the devotees, especially senior devotees like Vamsivardhan Prabhu and others, so that I can speak properly for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. So we are discussing on the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. Actually, in the previous section, Prahlad Maharaj was expressing his mood of compassion that he doesn't want to, he wants to deliver all the living entities in this world who are trying to enjoy in this world. So that he mentioned. And now in the last part of Prahlad Maharaj's prayers, Prahlad Maharaj is talking about how bhakti, how devotional service is the topmost. And only through devotional service one can achieve the Lord. So that is what is the last part. So in that, this is the first shloka. So if you see in the purport, mainly Prabhupada talks about how there are various liberation methods and then everything is boiled down more or less to tapasya. Right? And he says one takes to bhakti, all of them are very easily performed. So one main point what Prabhupada stresses is this Kevalaya Bhaktya, these 10 methods are automatically observed by devotional service. And then he specifically tells it is not meant for devotees. Okay? So we'll try to understand that. And then he gives an example. For example, he takes one Mauna and explains it in terms of the Vaishnava understanding. And then he also says how it is recommended for Ajitendriyas. But devotees have already conquered senses and already freed from upadhis. And then he quotes this Dushtamana, how without sense control and practical engagement, one should not imitate exclusive devotional service, like Haridas Thakur. And then he also talked about how Prahlad does not condemn all these items without bhakti. All these items, but without bhakti, one cannot attain liberation by such methods. Mainly because it may promote false pride and damba and all this says. Okay? So this is what mainly Prabhupada talks about in the purport. So what we will do today is we will discuss from 5 different aspects this shloka. So first we will generally understand how to understand such statements. We have many statements in our scriptures where it compares, there is comparison made like bhakti and other process and like that. So how to understand such things. So that is one part we will discuss. And then next what we will discuss is how to have the right understanding, bhakti understanding of all this other methods, what is prescribed. Okay, and then also what are the cautions to consider? Like mainly here there are certain words used, right? Ajitendriyanam, and then Dambika, one should not be proud and all those things. And then fourth, we will talk about what is the right understanding and mode in which one should perform these activities, and not only these activities, even in devotional service, what is one specific mode we will be discussing on this based on this context. And at the end, in this regard, we will be seeing one beautiful verse from Tirupavai, which is composed by Andal. Very beautiful verse, which is called as a Sharanagati Pasuram, where she surrenders to Krishna. And it's like a beautiful conversation between Krishna and Andal and her friends. Okay? So it's a very beautiful thing. So that is what we will see at the end. Okay. So first what we will discuss is, we generally see a lot of statements like this, right, in our scriptures, where it compares. If you have bhakti, then nothing is required, or devotee need not do it, right? Many places we see like this. So how to understand this? For example, we have this, right? Tyaktva Swadharma Saranambujam Hare. One has given up Swadharma and become devotee. So he achieves, but whereas one performs Swadharma doesn't become devotee, what is the use and all, like, right? Like that we see a lot of statements. Hara Bhaktasya Kuto Mahad Guna. So many statements like this, where the comparison is made. Hare Krishna. Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra ki jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai ki jai, Shri Gauranitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So how to understand such statements? How to understand in a proper perspective? Okay. So generally, any comparison is made, for example, okay, like this, in between See, generally the comparison is not made as something like, some sinful activity and some devotional service or some punya. No, right? Because there is no comparison only. Comparison is made on some bona fide proper methods only. So when such comparisons are made, how to understand that? So general understanding is, whenever such comparisons are made, the purpose of such comparison is to glorify the one which is being, suppose here, for example, bhakti is compared to all the other methods. Bhakti is, the purpose of this is to glorify the process of bhakti. Right? That is the main purpose. Like that, similarly, as we saw that Tyaktva Swadharma Charanambujam Hare, the purpose is not to tell that don't do Swadharma at all. No, that is not the purpose. What is the purpose? Bhakti is topmost. If you don't do bhakti, there is no use. Like we have this verses, right? That Dharma Swanushtita Pumsam Vishwakshena Katasoyaha Na Utpadaya Dediratim Shravaya Kevalam. It is waste if you don't do. There also, what is the purpose? Purpose is not that you should not do dharma. No. Purpose is if you don't do, then this is, right? That is to show the superiority of devotional service or bhakti. Correct? That's the very important point. So similarly, these processes, what is mentioned in the scriptures, so that has its purpose. Okay? That is for discipline or for purification. Right? See, for example, when we worship the deity, we do various procedures, right? We do achamana and then we recite various mantras and then purify our right mind and then enter into the service. So like that, these are like for discipline and purificatory processes. One devotee gave a very nice example to understand this. Suppose in a home, at home, what is the most important or most highest place? You can say the altar, right? Or the puja room, or the altar is the topmost place. But there are other rooms also, right? There is bedroom, there is hall, there is toilet, kitchen, all other places are there. So does it mean that others are not required? No, right? That also is important, right? So when we say this is most important, highest place, that means what? That doesn't mean that others are not important or it is to be neglected. No, that is not the principle, correct? So for example, someone says, so the altar if you don't have altar, then waste. Your house itself is waste. If you don't have a puja room or if you don't worship the Lord at home, your house itself is a waste, if you say. That is also correct, right? But what is the context here? The most important is to worship the Lord, right? That altar like that. Similarly, if suppose someone says, see, you may have everything, but finally altar is the most important place, no? Puja room. Everything you do, see, you are having the kitchen for cooking for the deities and you are sleeping or taking rest or a bathroom, toilet, everything you are using so that you can be pure and you can serve that. Someone says, so most important is this. That is also correct, right? So from that perspective, when such comparisons are made, it is not to sort of totally, that one should totally neglect or not do those activities because each activity has an importance, correct? Right? For example, as I said, in a house, each room has its importance, correct? So like that is how we should understand. So it is not to reject all the other methods which are mentioned in the scriptures. Okay. So we also know this famous shloka, right, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Shruti Smriti Puranani Pancharatra Vidimina Aikantiki Hare Bhakti Utpadayeva Kalpate. Right? Suppose someone says, I practice devotional service, but I don't care for any other rules of Smriti Purana and Pancharatra. That is a disturbance in the society, he says. And there is another beautiful statement which is said is from Vishnu Dharmottara, which is considered like an appendix to the Vishnu Purana, where Lord Vishnu says, Shruti Smriti Mamayo Agya. That means Shruti and Smriti are my orders. Yastam Ullangya Vartate Agya Chedi Mama Drohi Mama Bhakto Api Na Vaishnavaha. A very strong statement. What he says, Shruti and Smriti are my command, my order, right? My instructions, injunctions, what is given. So someone who sort of avoids all these things, doesn't do, and then disobeys those orders, he says he is Mama Drohi, he is my Drohi, means enemy. And then Mama Bhakto Api Na Vaishnava. Even though he claims he is my devotee, he is not Vaishnava, like that Lord says. So this is how the context has to be understood. Okay? Generally, because we always see these comparisons, right? This is great as this is nothing and all. So that is from the perspective of glorifying the object of glorification, not to sort of totally neglect or ignore that thing. Okay? That's the main point. Okay? So that is why we can see. Remember this example in a home, altar is important, but means not good to compare. But you see in a toilet, bathroom, that is also important, right? Everything is important, but this is most important because that is the most purest or the most auspicious from that perspective, right? So that's how it has to be understood. Okay? This is the first thing. So now then, how to understand? Prabhupada says this is not for devotees. Right? Prabhupada clearly has mentioned. So we'll see from three different perspectives. Next 3 points. What does it mean? It is not meant for devotees, Prabhupada says, right? So how to understand this? So how to do with proper right bhakti understanding. Prabhupada gives an example of mauna in this case, right? He takes one sample and explains what mauna means for a devotee, for a Vaishnava. So, because if you see all these processes, all the various processes which are mentioned in the Vedas, like other than pure devotional service, all other various processes, or see, we recently had the Pitru Paksha and all, offering oblations to the Pitrus, Tarpana, and also to the Devatas and to the Rishis. So many different things are there. So these things are pursued by one for many people who want to fulfill their material desires. Right? They also pursue such path. Right? And then second, those who want to experience Atma, those who want to merge with the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, those who doesn't want to serve the Lord, but those who want to just experience Atma, I am Atma. Such people also pursue such paths, correct, for their purification, correct. What in our terms we call as Karmi and Jnani. So they also pursue all these paths, right. They also follow all these methods and everything, correct. So from that perspective, one understanding what we can have is, when Prabhupada says it is not meant for devotees, that means it is not to be done like the way how Karmis and Jnanis are doing. Okay, so this is one way of understanding, right? For example, that means there is a Vaishnava understanding for each of this principle, how it has to be performed, correct? For example, Mauna, Prabhupada mentions, Mauna means what? Not just stop talking, it is only talking about Krishna, okay? That is Mauna. Similarly, Vrata. See, people do other vrata also, whatever devatas, for so many fasting, so many days and all those, correct? But for devotee Vaishnavas, vrata is more of Ekadasi, Janmashtami, Brahmacharya vrata, all those different things. And gopis also, they did vrata, right? Katyayini vrata. That is to attain Krishna. Right? And similarly, Shruta, hearing. Hearing is also hearing about Krishna and developing more attraction and faith towards Krishna. Right? That is what is hearing. And then tapa, austerity. So we don't have austerity like you have to stand in fire, in sun, or in water, in winter, nothing like that. For us, austerity is simple, following 4 regulative principles, raising up early in the morning. So what Prabhupada is given. Similarly, adhyayana, recitation of the scriptures. Swadharma. So Swadharma also, like Prabhupada quotes this often, Varnashrama charavata purushena parapuman Vishnu aradhyate panta nanyat tatosha karanam. So it is done as a sort of aradhana, or for worship to Lord Vishnu. Doing all our prescribed duties and offering to the Lord. That is also considered like a worship. Right? So in that sense, work is worship, what is told us from this perspective. No? This has to be offered to the Lord. Okay. And then Vyakya, explanation of the Shastras, like understanding the scriptures, reciting them, and then also explaining the Shastras. Raha means living in a solitude. So that also we know, right? Living in solitude doesn't mean living alone. Living only with devotees, not to live with non-devotees is the understanding, Vaishnava understanding. Similarly, japa, chanting the holy names and also chanting the Krishna mantras, what we receive from the spiritual master. Similarly, samadhi, meditation, focusing on the Lord and His qualities, all those. So this is the Vaishnava understanding. So this is one perspective of understanding. When Prabhupada says it is not for devotees, that means it is not for devotees like how it is being practiced by Karmis and the Jnanis. Okay. So that is one perspective of understanding. Right? One perspective. Right? This is first. Second perspective, so the third point, first we discussed about, first what we discussed is how to understand the comparison statements like this, because we often come across this, right? This is the highest, the other is, this is nothing, like that and all. So how to understand that? And the second, we will see the 3 means of how to understand this. First what we saw was the right bhakti understanding is, it is not practiced in the way Karmi or Jnani is performing. So there is a Vaishnava understanding for each of this. So that is a second understanding. So third, what is Prahlad Maharaj cautions here in terms of Ajitendriyanam, right? He says these are all meant for those who are not control the senses. And Prabhupada, what he mentions here, this is not for devotees because devotees are already control all their senses and beyond this, correct? Can you imagine? That means what level Prabhupada is talking about, right? What kind of devotees? So that is where Prabhupada also talks about that prematurely imitating. Even suppose someone says that I will chant. You have to chant Hare Krishna mantra, I will chant. Suppose someone does that prematurely, continuously, like imitating Haridas Thakur, that is also dangerous, right? We know this famous example also, no? Which we have heard. One Prabhupada disciple, he was so much inspired that he has to go to Vrindavan and chant 24 hours like Haridas Thakur. So he went to Prabhupada and asked. Prabhupada said, no. Prabhupada said, you be in the temple, chant 16 rounds and do other things. And you know what this devotee told? He said, Prabhupada actually told general instruction for everyone, but I very special understood, and he went to Vrindavan. And it is said, he practiced for some few months, some 6-7 months or something. After that, he was not found only. And after many, many years, what happened? Someone found him in a petrol pump in US, where he was petrol. So devotee asked, oh Prabhu, what happened? He said, no, I have done sufficient chanting for the whole life, so I don't want to do. Okay, so this is, we see this example, right? So this is not, that means one is not controlled the senses completely, and before that prematurely takes up even a bona fide process, but extreme in extreme sense. Okay, so that's what Prabhupada condemns here. So this is mainly in terms of neglecting the rules. Okay, so neglecting the rules by thinking that I am controlled, I don't require to follow all these rules. Okay, that is one aspect. But what we actually see, even great devotees who are advanced also follow so many practices, right? Even Goswamis we see, right? We hear about Raghunath Das Goswami and all. They do, of course, they do austerity because they were so much absorbed in Krishna, they don't have time to eat and all those. That is different. But you see, for example, we hear Raghunath Das Goswami daily used to offer 1,000 dandavats. 1,000 devotees he used to offer dandavats. Quite extreme. So it is not that because of that only, that is to set an example, and also he feels humble, right? That is how it is. Even I heard Ramanujacharya, he lived for 120 years. It is said, till 120 years, even when he was 120 years, he used to go to Kaveri river and do his Sandhya Vandanam and all the things. Can you imagine? Right? It is not required that only if he does that, it is no, correct, not required. But just to set an example, because if he doesn't do, then everyone will say, oh, Ramanujacharya did, he didn't do, so I will also not do, correct? Everyone is, we are all ready for that. So, so this is one aspect of neglecting the rules because of prematurely thinking that I am sense control, right? What we see here is even those who are controlled all the senses, they do it just to set an example to others, correct? Even Krishna says, right? Yadyat acharati shrestha. So that's how it is. So the second danger, what Prahlad Maharaj says is Dambhikanam. Dambhikanam means what? Yeah, pride, to do out of pride. Or so one general issue, problem with many of these methods is when one performs those methods, one feels that I am very great, I am someone very different from all others, correct? That is there, right? All this tapa, one does a lot of austerities, one feels, I am very special, and look down upon others who are not, correct? Right? Ekadasi, I have done nirjala. So when look upon all others, and sees those who are eating other things, so you are very low like that. And as this, so that tendency will always be there. So in all this tapasya, shruta also, we have so many stories, right? We hear even devotees as well, right? Those who are very great scholars, and there is one story in Chaitanya Leela where there is one Rupa Kaviraj, maybe later. Okay, he was a great scholar of Srimad Bhagavatam. He was a disciple of Ganganarayan Chakravarti, and it is said, right? There is one great devotee, Mataji named Krishna Priya. So she was always chanting, and she comes in to hear about Krishna, and she was continuously, because she is accustomed to that. So he gets so irritated and offends her, and it is said because of this he totally deviates, and he becomes an apasampradaya starts, right? Something like that. He totally deviates, and he had later leprosy and other things also. So we see even amongst devotees, someone who becomes proud of such things because of tapasya, or because of tapasya, we know this example of Vishwamitra Muni also, right? There's a big competition between Vishwamitra Muni. He wants to become Brahma Rishi, right? So what happens? Because of that, he performs so much of austerity. He says, he was called Raja Rishi. He was not satisfied. He wanted to become Brahma Rishi. And finally, he became so sort of upset with Vasishtha. And finally, Vasishtha himself called him because he became humble. So Vasishtha also called him as Brahma Rishi. We see this example also. Because of pride, one wants to pose off that. Similarly, Vyakya also. We have this famous example of 𝗦𝗶𝐵𝗺, right? So he spoke to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that my commentary is better than Sridhar Swami, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was upset, right? So we see this. So this is one thing which we see, that generally such, that even that Varta Bhavanti, what is told, Prabhupada translated it as professional way of doing things. or it is also mentioned as, it is basically just to show off, or Varta means what? Words, right? So just namesake doing. So like that it is also. So if you see, this is second way of understanding. When Prabhupada says not meant for devotees means what? It is not for devotees here means not to be proud, or not to be proud of doing things, or being stuck with those things alone. Someone has done something and just stuck with that only. I am very good in doing this and not understanding the bhakti perspective. Okay, this is second understanding. So when Prabhupada says not for devotees means what? Not meant to do this and forget the main goal, or becoming proud and get just stuck with that. Correct? I am very good in this, I am very good in, very expert in Vyakyan and all those things, but forgetting the main goal. Okay? So this is second way to understand. When Prabhupada says not meant for devotees, not to be proud and just stuck with that. Okay? That's the meaning of the second meaning. Okay. So now the third we will see, which is more subtle and very more important understanding, is actually another very important understanding is to not to do this, any of these Vedic processes or methods as a sadhana or as a means to attain the Lord. Okay. So this is very, very important, mainly from devotees' perspective, because we understand first thing, Mauna means okay, we should not talk either than Krishna, another is fine. But the more subtler aspect is the mood in which one should perform any activities. What is the mood? That we should not consider this as the means or the way or the path for our perfection, right? As a sadhana or as a upaya for doing things. Okay. So this mentality has to be given up. So this is very, very important. So this is this is another understanding. That means when we say not meant for devotees, devotees do not perform these activities as a means to achieve liberation or means to achieve Krishna also. By doing this, I will achieve Krishna, or that also devotees do not do. Okay, why devotees do? This is anything I do, it is just for pleasing Krishna, and then it is done as a service to Krishna. So that should be the mood, but not as a means mean what? I do this, oh Krishna, I have done this, please give me this. So that is considered not a pure method. Okay, Prabhupada quotes this shloka, this famous shloka from the Mundaka Upanishad. I think after a few verses this comes. Nayamatma pravachanena labhya, na medaya na bahuna shrutena, 𝐒𝐫𝐢𝐯𝐵 vrunute tena labhya, tasyai atma vivrunite tanum swam. Okay, we must have heard this shloka. Prabhupada quotes this many places. Supreme Lord is not obtained by expert explanation. Nayamatma pravachanena labhya. By giving lot of lectures or pravachana, one cannot attain the Lord. Okay, I am hearing I hear lot of things. No. By bahuna shrutena, then also you cannot. Na medasa, that means by vast intelligence and everything one cannot attain. Okay, very shocking news, no? Why it is said? But he is obtained only by whom Lord chooses. Lord chooses that let me take him, only that person can go back to Godhead, or to such a person he manifests his own form. Okay, that is what this is. So this is a very, very important thing. What it means is, even devotional service, bhakti also, should not be done with the motivation that this is, I do this, with this I have to get, Lord, you have to give me mercy. Understood, no? That means even bhakti should not be considered as a means. That means what? Bhakti is, it's more of a mentality. For example, you see, we never see any great acharyas or great devotees in their prayers or anywhere. Have we seen that? Oh Lord, I have done this chanting, I have done the hearing, I have glorified you. Because of this, please give me your mercy. Because of this, please take me back to Godhead. Have we heard anything like this? Nowhere we hear this, right? I have done this. Because of this, Lord, you should do this. No. That means even devotional service, devotional practices also, devotional service also, we should not consider this is the means. Lord, I have done this, because of this you should give. Understood? Very subtle point it is. Right? That means you are only anything you decide what to do. Right? In Chaitanya Shikshashtakam we say, last sloka. Yata tatava vidadadu lampoto matpranas, either you throw me away or embrace me, you are my Lord. So this is also another very, very important aspect. So that means not to consider what I am doing, the devotional activities also. That means what not to consider means I do this devotional activity and claiming that Lord give me mercy because I have done this. So that is also considered not very pure. Understood? Very subtle aspect. That means the bhakti also, one should not do as a, I am doing this bhakti because then Lord has to give. No, that is not the process. Why I am doing bhakti? To serve the Lord or to please the Lord. That is the only purpose. Why I am chanting, why I am reading, everything is to please the Lord. That is the only motivation. Please the Lord, please the spiritual master, because Srila Prabhupada, the spiritual master has given, that is why I am doing. Right? As a service and also to please the Lord. Not, see, that is why you see, Prahlad Maharaj, after this whole thing, Prahlad, Narasimha asks him, please, I want to give this. At that time, what he says? He says, no, I would, and devotion to you, in exchange, I don't want anything. Like that, that's what this says, right? So this is a very important aspect. That means one should not do devotional service and think, because I have done devotional service, Lord has to reciprocate, He has to give me. That is also considered not very pure. So from that perspective here, what it says, the third understanding is, devotees, it is not meant for devotees means what? Devotees do not consider this as means. Not only the other process, even bhakti also. Clear? It means bhakti also, one doesn't say that I have done bhakti, now you give me, whatever, give me mercy also, we don't see devotees asking, right? Actually, I was thinking, is there any devotees who have done? Only thing I could think of was the 𝐒𝐫𝐢𝐯 prayer, 17, we have this prayer, right? Krato smara, kritam smara, right? That is, there also Prabhupada writes, actually devotee did not have to ask, Lord already knows. So, right? That's the only place, and there also Prabhupada clarifies. Devotees need not remind the Lord that, no, please remember me. No, you don't. Lord already knows it. You don't need to do it. Okay. So this is a very important aspect, that not to consider it as a means. A very subtle aspect. Right? This is a subtle thing. So not to consider this as a means. Even devotional thing, not to consider. So you see this prayers also, no? Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. There, what he says, say vrata, say tapa, say mora, mantra japa. Everything is you only. No? Right? He prays to Rupa Goswami. Okay. So that is why we have this concept in the devotional tradition, or in all Vaishnava tradition, you see this. I think we must have heard this, right? When we approach the Lord, when we surrender to the Lord, there are two aspects mentioned. One is what is called as akinchanatvam. Akinchana means what? I don't have anything. I don't have any qualification. And then second is what is called as ananyagatitvam. It means no other place to go, nobody else to go other than you. Right? So one devotee was telling very beautifully, when we come before the Lord, we stand, right? We stand before the Lord and fold our hands and pray, correct? So just by this gesture, both the aspects are, we express to the Lord. First, what we express, by folding hands, we are saying, Akinchana means I don't have anything. I don't have anything in my hand. Okay, I am helpless. Or we raise the hand, whatever you say. Raising a hand or folding our hand, what we say? I don't have anything. And by keeping our legs before the Lord, means standing before the Lord, what we are saying is, I don't have any other place to go. No? Beautiful explanation. So if I don't have any other place to go, you are my only shelter. I don't have any other place to go. And I don't have anything else qualification with me. Okay? So this is how it represents also. We see Prabhupada's prayer also. Bhakti nahi beda nahi. Prabhupada says, I don't have bhakti, I don't have knowledge also, Prabhupada says. And then he says, Tumi bina anya gati nahi. Right? Prabhupada prayers only we see this. No? Other than you, I don't have any other shelter. So this is the right mood of praying to the Lord. So that means even to expect that Lord should show me mercy, you don't say that, Lord, I have done this much chanting, I have done this much, this one, I have served devotees. No, that should not be, what do you call? That should not be shown to the, that should not be like a means, in the sense that I have done this, because of that Lord, you should give me mercy. We never see from any Vaishnavacharya anyone doing this. Quite amazing, no? Whatever they say, what they always say, I am most lowly, please give me mercy. That is the only thing they say. So this is a very subtle aspect. So this is another way to understand when Prabhupada says devotees do not do this, means what? Not to do with mentality. Even bhakti also. Bhakti also is not to be done with this motivation that I have done this, because of this Lord has to reciprocate. That is considered a not very pure path. Okay. So at the end, with this understanding, we'll see a very beautiful song from Tirupavai. Okay, Andal. We have Andal in Balaji temple. So Andal. So this is the verse 28. Actually, if you know, Tirupavai is a set of 30 verses, okay, which is sung in the month of Margadi by all the devotees in the South India and all. Even our temple, we used to have that flex in Kunjabihari. Every day one Pasuram, the verse used to be written. So the mode is, she along with her friends, she is imitating the gopis, how they wanted to achieve Lord Krishna. Okay, achieve Krishna. So that mode she is emulating. So in that first 5 verses, she is telling we are doing a vrata to attain Krishna, and what are the things to do, what is not to be done, all those things she explains. Okay, and then how we will, and if there is obstacles, how it will go away, all these things she explains. And then next 10 songs, she invites 10 of her friends who are sleeping. They are thinking of the Lord. They are, so she is going to each house and calling them. You come join with me. And then, so then 10, 15 verses. And then the next 5 verses, she goes to Nanda Bhavan and wakes up Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda. And first she goes to the gatekeepers and asks their permission. Okay, that is the 16th one. And then 17, 18, then she wakes up Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, and then Krishna, Balaram, and then Napinnai, which is considered consort of Lord Krishna. Actually, she is said to be like, as per the Sri Vaishnava tradition, Yashoda had a brother and brother had a daughter. So that's how the relation. So they go to her, and then after that they directly address Krishna. Okay, directly address Krishna, glorify him for next 5 verses. Glorify Nanda Maharaj's greatness. Such a great Nanda Maharaj's son. Like that they address in very beautiful ways. Krishna is so pleased. And then in the last set of verses, 26, 27, 28, 29, they actually ask what we require. What is that we have come. So they ask for the instruments for the vrata and all those things. They also ask the Sambhavana, what do you call it, the result of the vrata. Okay, what is that vrata they are making? They don't have any separate vrata, worshipping God, anything like that. Their vrata is just glorifying the Lord and then immersing in His qualities. That itself is the vrata. So they are asking, please give us, so we are going to ask you for a prayer. So before that, what Krishna says is, Krishna says, stop. To the Andal and his friends. Okay. So for this, I will just read this pasuram, you can hear, it's in Tamil. Karavaigal pin sendru kaanam சேர்ந்து உண்போம் அறிவொன்றும் இல்லாத ஆய்க்குலத்து உந்தன் பிறவி பெருந்தனை புண்ணியம் யாமுடையோம் குறைவொன்றும் இல்லாத கோவிந்தா உந்தனோடு உறவேல் நமக்கிங்கு ஒழிக்க ஒழியாது அறியாத பிள்ளைகளோம் அன்பினால் உந்தன்னை சிறுபேர் அழைத்தனமும் சீறி அருளாதே இறைவா நீ தாராய் பறையேலோர் எம்பாவாய். This is the verse. Don't get scared, I will explain what it is. So this whole thing is explained as a conversation between Krishna and Andal and her friends. Okay. So Krishna is asking, see, you are going to ask me something, but first I want to know, do you have any qualification? Have you done any karma yoga, bhakti yoga, anything you have done? You have any qualification? Then I can consider. So they say, we don't have any qualification. See, don't you know, we are all just cowherds, cowherd girls. We don't have any qualification. Only qualification we have great desire to attain you. So Krishna says, no, that will not work out. See, in the Shastra, so many things I have prescribed, right? So he says, okay, tell your daily routine. I will find out some good things, and based on that, I will give you some, I will give you the result what you want. Getting, no? That's what. Okay. So they tell their daily routine. Okay. So Karavaigal pins, and they say first, what we will do first morning, when we wake up, what is our duty? We go behind the cattle. The Karavai means which gives milk. Okay, that's what it is. That means cows, buffaloes, goats, and everything. All this. We go behind them. Okay. So Krishna hears, pin center means, oh, we go behind. Krishna says, oh, so you go behind great people, like Anu Yatra said, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has visited so many places, we go, right, those places. Or Lord Rama has visited these places. Some people have a yatra, Rama Anu Yatra, wherever Lord Rama has went. So like that, our great devotees have gone. So like that, are you following some great personalities? No, she says, no, you are not heard properly. What we said, we just go behind the cattle, by all the this cows, buffaloes, we just go behind them, that is it. So Krishna says, oh, okay, because if you go behind a great personality, that is also great asset. I will give you. They say, no, we don't have. See, basically this whole verse is talking about how they are claiming we don't have any qualification. So that's the main the connection. Okay. Then they say, Kanam Serundu, we go to the forest. So then Krishna says, oh, you go to the forest, that means you must be going to some Naimisharanya, Dandakaranya, or Vrindavan, Vrindaranyam, some place. So that is a great, that's a great sort of Sukriti, great, I can use that to give you something. They say, no. What did we say? Karavaigal pin, wherever the cows, buffaloes, where they go, we just go there, in any forest or any place. It is not any Punyakshetram or anything like that. Krishna says, oh, okay. Next, what is there? So, Karavaigal pin sendru, Kanam serundu. So then Krishna says, okay, see, what you are doing is your duty, right? See, for the cowherd community, this is their duty, right? So Krishna says, oh, great. So this is Karma Yogam, I have already described, right? In Bhagavad Gita 3.30 we have, Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa. Don't have the mentality of I am the doer and offering everything to me, right? Without expecting any results. So this is karma yoga. So I think this is what you are doing is karma yoga for your thing. So I will use this and give the fruit, whatever you want to ask. So Andal says no. Karavaigal pin center kanam serundu unbom. Why we are going to the foreign? It is for our own bread and butter for we just eat. That is why we are going. We don't have any. We don't have such philosophy and all. We don't. For our own livelihood, we are doing. That is it. We don't follow this karma yoga and all this principle like that. So Krishna says, oh, okay. So actually there are many other things. I left it. So Karavaigal actually, Krishna says, if you just go behind a cow, the cow's dust is there, right? When it falls on you, that is considered great snanam, great auspicious thing. So Krishna says, no. So you go behind the cows and cows' dust are falling in your, so that means very great. So Andal says, no, what did we say? Did we say that we go only behind cows? Cows, buffaloes, goats also. And it is said, as per the Shastra, goats' dust is there. No? If it falls on us, it is very impure and we have to take bath. It is considered inauspicious. Okay. So Krishna says, oh, okay, I cannot consider that also. Like that, there are a lot of details, I'm just giving. And then Krishna says, okay, Karma Yoga cancelled. Now, do you have any jnanam? Have you studied, do you have knowledge of the scriptures and everything? They say, Arivondrumillada Aikulam. Aikulam means we are cowherd clan. We don't have any knowledge. We don't know reading, writing, number system, nothing we know. We don't know anything. Arivondrumillada Aikulam means we don't know anything. We don't have any knowledge. So Jnana Yoga also zero. So Krishna says what to do. Krishna says very difficult your case to consider. What? So then they say we have one great Sukriti or one great Punyam. Punyam means what? Here it is not a normal pious activity. We have one great asset what we have got. What is that? Undannai piravi pirundanai punyam yamudayom. What we have got, the credit we have got is we have got, you have born in our cowherd community. That is the great thing we have got. That means what? We have got you. That is the only thing. If you can give something based on that, we will accept. Otherwise, you are getting, that means, see, the whole point is here what? We don't have any qualification. See, that is the point. That means you don't give something based on, that's why I was telling, I do this devotional activity, I have done chanting and all Krishna, because of this, that is considered impure. So what they are telling, we don't have any qualification. That's, and then, so then Krishna says, so okay, so that means I am also born in your clan. That means I am also having all this thing. I am also not learned and I don't have anything. I am also a cowherd boy like this. For that they say, Kurai ondrumillada Govinda. Govinda means one who was herding cows, right? So Kurai ondrumillada means you are the one who don't have any faults. So Lord, when he appears, we have this 𝐒𝐫𝐢𝐯 𝐴𝐴𝐴𝐴𝐴𝐴𝐴𝐴 shloka and that is what is explained in this context. So Lord, even when he descends, he is totally pure. He doesn't have any, he is full of knowledge, full of everything, all the qualities he has got. You are, as part of that, you will not look at the faults of the devotees also. Okay. So that is how they, and then Krishna says, okay, see, I may have all the things and you may not have any qualification. Does it mean that I have to give you? What if I don't give you? Or why I should give you? Like that Krishna asks. So for that, Andal says, Undanodu uravel namakkingu odikka odiyadu. That means the relationship we have, what the living entity and the Lord, what we have, we both have, cannot be destroyed by anyone. Even if Jivatma thinks we can destroy relationship, sever our relationship with Lord, it is not possible. Lord also is not possible. Okay. So there Acharyas explained there are 9 kinds of relationship. Pita, Rakshaka, very detailed. So I'll just tell the names. One is Pita, like how the Lord is creator and is the giver of knowledge and everything. Pita, Rakshakaha, Sheshi, that means he is the master. And we are meant to do everything for his pleasure, for his, okay. Pita, Rakshaka, Sheshi, Bharta, like he is the husband, we are the, like a wife. Pita, Rakshaka, Sheshi, Bharta, 𝐒𝐫𝐢𝐯 is the object to be known. We are, sorry, he is the only object to be known. Okay. 𝐒𝐫𝐢𝐯, Swami is the proprietor or the owner. He owns everything. Right? We are the property. Right? So that means what? Suppose some property is lost, the property will not go behind the owner, right? Correct? See, suppose my mobile is lost. Mobile will not search where is the owner, where is no, right? I have to only go and search. Similarly, I am like a property. I don't have anything. You will only give me mercy. Like that, that is the mode. So Swami, Adara. Lord is the Adaram for everything. Okay, Swami Adhara, Mama Atma, and he is the Atma, he is the Antaryami for everyone. And then last one is Bhokta, he is the enjoyer, supreme enjoyer. Like that, we have 9 relationships. Even if you also cannot sever that relationship, I also cannot sever the relationship. So, because of that, you have to give us this. So then Krishna says, okay, you are now talking about our relationship, but you have talked to me earlier, now you are calling me Govinda very closely, like as if I am part of your community. But earlier you had called me with very formal names. So like that Krishna gets a little angry. So then the Andal and all of them, they say, you know what they say? அறிவில்லாத பிள்ளைகளும் அன்பினால் உந்தன்னை சிறுபேர் அழைத்தனமும் சீரி அருளாதே. That means out of great affection we are called, out of great ignorance we have called you with small names. Like that she says. You know what is considered a small name? Initially she called us Narayana. So, I mean 3 times almost. The first sloka and then the other one. So what Acharya has explained is, when the Lord is called as Narayana, that means who is the, Narayana Mayana, who is the sort of resting place of all the living entities. So that Andal is telling is a small name. That means from Krishna's perspective, Krishna feels that is a small name for me. And what is the big name? Govinda. When he says, that time Krishna is happy. Oh, okay. Then you are considering me like yourself, like in your community. So, please excuse calling you with a smaller name, like Narayana, what we called you. Please forgive for calling me with that. And now, and to compensate, actually in the 27, 28, 29, in 3 verses there will be Govinda, Govinda, Govinda. These names will come in the songs also. And then Sirupir Adithanam, Siri Arulada, Iraiva Tarai Parai. You only consider and whatever thing you give me, like that they pray. So that is this whole this Tirupavai verse. So which is beautifully demonstrate how the pure devotees, they do not consider any qualification for themselves. They do not claim that I have done this, you give me. Karma yoga or Jnana yoga or even bhakti also. They don't claim, because I have done this bhakti process, you have to give me. No, that is not the thing. Right? Bhakti, why I do? Just to please you, just as service I do, or because spiritual master has ordered. Right? Even if you don't have that consciousness that I am pleasing Krishna or anything, why I am doing? Because our Guru has ordered, that is why I am doing. So that is the mode and not anything else. So, okay. So just to demonstrate this verse we saw. Okay. So briefly what we saw today, we saw this shloka, how this, generally whenever we see these comparisons in the scriptures, like how bhakti is highest or this is there, this is highest, others are not, nothing, that is not to sort of demean or totally ignore those activities, but that is to glorify the process of devotion service. That is one thing we saw. There we saw the example of in a house, we have altar and all other rooms, everything has its importance, correct? That's what we saw. Okay, second we talked about, and then we talked about 3 different reasons. When Prabhupada says it is not for devotees, first reason what we saw, that it is not for devotees means it is not to be done by the same way how the karmis or the jnanis do, correct? Not from that perspective, it has to be done from the Vaishnava perspective, where we saw this 10 items briefly, right? And then the second understanding what? Do not for devotees is what? That is not for devotees mean not to be proud or stuck with this, that Dambika, and also to neglect also. So one is that neglect, thinking that I am Ajitendriya. Another is what? Damba, I am doing all these things, all these processes like that. So both extremes to be avoided. And it has to be done just as a service to the Lord and for the pleasure of the Lord. And the third part, very important, subtle part, what we saw, that we should not do all these activities as a upayam or a sadhana to attain the Lord. Okay. And even bhakti also, we should not do the motivation that because I have done bhakti, Lord, you are bound to give me thing. That is considered not a very pure thing. That is where we saw this at the end, this whole song of Andal, where she claims that we don't have any qualification. Karma yoga, Jnana yoga, nothing, we don't have any qualification. What is only qualification we have got is you are born in our thing. Means you are the only means. You decide. Like that is what we saw, that Nayam Atma Pravachinena Labhya. Means Lord, you decide. Whether you give me or whatever it is, you are the, you only decide everything. So that is what we saw from this song also. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So anything told wrongly or anything, please can correct. This question. One question, I think. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Broji, for a very beautiful class. Many times we know that something is not meant for devotees. Like we are practicing, so we know, for example, eating too much sweets or sleeping too much or talking too much. We know it is not meant for devotees. but because of conditioning, we still do it. So how to make this theoretical knowledge in our daily practices? Hare Krishna.
Okay. Yeah, we have to keep trying only. We have to keep trying and try to follow these principles, how it is important also from that perspective, and try to follow and improve each one of us. And mainly we can take guidance from other devotees or devotee friends also. Someone who is very close to us can ask. See, generally, those who are below us, or they may not find any fault, or they may not tell, right? Or many times even equals also, sometimes they may say. So someone whom can find out, tell our faults, that is a great thing actually. Because after some years, nobody will tell you anything. Everyone will say great, great only. Good. So someone can point out our faults and try to help us in improving. So that is very nice. So we can take help from others. See, that's why the community of devotees is there, to take help from others. And also we also try to introspect and try to improve. That's what. Pray to the Lord for strength. So there is no shortcut for improving.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you so much. Take? It's already, huh? Yeah, maybe after the class we can discuss. Is it okay? Yeah, you can ask quickly.
If possible, you can give such a brilliant class. You can keep some time for discussion if possible. With that time, if possible, because Prabhu is also raising hand. However, thank you. So, first of all, thank you so much for such a brilliant explanation of this verse and practical application. And especially the last part, actually, it is exactly the mood of the gopis in Gopi Gitam, actually. Jayati te ditam. You have taken birth here and we are also from that, lot of things are matching there. So, my question is from the purport of Srila Prabhupada, where Prabhupada is very interestingly saying, Kirtaniya Sada Hari is not just taking bead bag and chanting Hare Krishna, or just chanting. It is glorifying. Prabhupada is translating that one should go on chanting the glories of the Lord 24 hours a day, which includes the holy name. So, and then Prabhupada is saying, who can do the holy name, quoting his Guru Maharaj, is therefore, unless one is extremely advanced in Krishna consciousness, one should not imitate Haridas Thakur. So, my question is, Prabhu, many times there are requests that, just increase your rounds. And then there are, so, and that is also nice because Prabhupada told us minimum of 16 rounds. However, there is as you said, there are two extremes. So, how do we actually have a right perspective towards what Prabhupada is saying here? That, otherwise that petrol pump wala thing happened.
Yeah, one thing is, occasionally we also do, like Haridas Thakur disappearance, we had a holy name festival. So that is all fine. Or Ekadasi, we do more rounds. That is all okay. What we are talking about is something very exclusively done, just thinking that we are beyond all the rules, or Prabhupada is told for ordinary people, not for us. That is what is told here. Otherwise, one can always chant more. Or see, minimum 16 rounds means what? If we that is mandatory minimum requirement. Beyond that, we can do as per our capacity, and obviously not to go allow or astray from devotees. See, that's the main lesson, right? What Prabhupada also says. From the past time also what we saw is not to go astray from devotee thinking that I will do something differently, or others are not mature. So that tendency is what is to be avoided. I don't know the answer. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.